The Sports Ball Stuff podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Pulpery Media presents Sports Ball Stuff with your hosts, Brock and Ben. This is where we discuss the major sports stories that intrigue us and the little stories that enrage us. It only took, 7 straight losses?
Okay, the Saints have find new and unusual ways to lose football games. These cocksuckers, I think, personally, with a competent coach, this game, the Eagles game, and the Atlanta game,
yeah,
those are all one-score games. With a competent coach, you win.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm saying this team is flawed and they suck, but those 3 games, like the Saints could have started 4-0 and still sucked, but sans a couple, like, I guess the point I'm making is to lose 7 games in a row, and half of those games you probably should have won, 3 of them.
Correct, yeah.
With a decent coach, a little better time management. I'm going to get into that because I'm going to rip this motherfucker in half for what he did. This team was never making the playoffs, and they were never winning the Super Bowl, none of that. I'm disgusted at how far we had to go. What did they say? Like, you got to hit rock bottom before... Bruh. If losing to that Panthers team... Oh, here we go. Talk while I find this stat here.
Well, so as I led into this, we don't have to hold back on Dennis Allen anymore. And as a defensive coordinator, I will not argue against that man. Now,
No.
Coordinators don't always make the best head coaches. And we've seen this man's press conferences. You've even seen the clips from inside the locker room.
And again, he's been with the organization for a very, very long time. I think close to 20 years at this point.
I guess in some capacity, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's done more good than harm to the organization.
Yeah. But
he should never be a head coach.
Yeah, as a leader of men, he's not.
Okay.
He's not he wasn't demanding. He wasn't.
Here we go.
Compelling.
You ready? Ready. Lowest win percentage for a head coach of the last 30 years. Dennis Allen, a .333 winning percentage.
Yeah.
Minimum 75 games. Romeo Crennel, remember that corpse?
Yeah.
337. Jim Schwartz, remember that douche?
I do.
Detroit?
Yeah.
363. Dom Capers, we all remember him. 375, and then Doug Marrone. 388.
Now I might be mistaken. I know at least the majority that you read off, those are all. But I think they're all defensive coordinators that became head coaches.
Let's see. Romeo Crennel was a defensive coordinator for the Patriots.
Right.
Don Capers was one for... You know what? I think you're right.
Jim Schwartz was a Titans defensive coordinator.
And he also was a head coach for Detroit when he sucked. All right, so that's the first stat. That's Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
The worst head coach winning percentage in history. Minimum games 75, which is... How many seasons is that? 6, 5 at least.
Yeah,
okay,
why not?
Whatever. 5 seasons. Wow. This is gross. The Saints outgained the Panthers by 150 yards, ran for 150 plus yards, and won the turnover battle and lost. In the last 20 years, it's happened 275 times, and all 275 times the teams have won.
Yeah. So
now,
we're the first.
275 and 1.
Yeah.
We're the first team to lose by outgaining a team by more than 150, rushing with 150 yards or more, and winning the turnover battle.
Yeah. I mean, any way you paint it, it's not good. And
it's fucking terrible.
And I mean, I hate to say it, but I would say this for the majority of Saints fandom is that when he was, initially named like, I mean, wasn't he like an interim head coach for a hot minute or something? Or
No,
he was on like a trial basis?
Sean Payton went away.
Right, yeah.
And we promoted him.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
But we didn't extend, like, he had like a year left on his contract.
But,
so he got like the 1 year thing.
But they didn't do a coaching search. They just promoted him.
Correct.
Straight up.
Correct.
So, and I remember at the time.
There was never interviews. We're hiring from within and moving forward.
And we both had a problem with that.
Here's my thing. I had a problem with it because it was Dennis Allen, but I was okay with it because he was staying in-house.
Sure, yeah.
And sans Drew Brees, who we'd lost a couple of years prior, and Sean Payton, like, everything was there. So, like, cool, let's find a quarterback and let's just keep on trucking. No, that wasn't the case. Sean Payton won 9 games, 8 games, and 9 games with way worse teams. Granted, he had Drew Brees at quarterback than Dennis Allen has now. Dennis Allen has all the talent in the world.
No,
and I get it. Injuries have hurt. We can all agree on that. But other than at the defensive back position, everybody's like been coming back in and out, in and out. Like pre-snap, post-snap penalties, garbage. Personal fouls, just unnecessary roughness, just undisciplined shit. That's on the head coach.
No, I agree.
Lazy tackling, that's on the head coach.
Well, again, we're talking
no urgency.
We're talking about a guy that has the personality of an accountant. And
saying an autistic accountant.
But, at the same time, it's this idea that he's going to motivate what essentially when you want on the field is to be murderers. But he's not, and that's the thing is that, I mean, over the last couple of years, what we've seen is lackluster performance.
Yes.
And he's not, again, he's good at planning and scheming. He's not good at motive.
Talent has kept this team afloat as bad as it is for the past 2+ seasons. The 7-game win streak at the end of last year coming into this year was clearly an aberration. Like that, I don't know what that was. That's not who this team is. And if it is, then Dennis Allen needs to be shot out of the galaxy.
Well, I mean, to come back to my point is last year, what motivated them was they had a chance to make the playoffs.
Right.
It wasn't this, the head coach came up with some scheme to motivate the team from within. And
if you remember, we lost 2 games that we should not have lost. Close games that we should not have lost down the stretch last year that would have put us in the playoffs.
Correct, yeah.
God, I wish I could remember who they were against. It doesn't matter.
One was Tampa.
Yeah. Thank you. I wanted to say Atlanta, but Tampa makes more sense. It was right there.
Yeah.
Again, this team's not winning the fucking Super Bowl, but if there's anything that the Giants or the Ravens haven't taught us, the Kings in hockey, that if you just get into the playoffs, who fucking knows?
Right.
Look, there's Bronson Reed, because he's a beast. I'm going to murder everyone, and then I'm going to try to go kill Seth Rollins again. A head coach, if you have a good head coach, those 1-score games, you should be winning more often than not.
Correct, yeah.
Those close games, talent's pretty much even across the board, but it's just a few things here or there. Perfect example. Into the first half this past week. They stop them. We get the ball. Actually, they let them score. We get the ball with the timeout and the 2-minute warning. Long play to Alvin Kamara. No 2-minute warning. 1 timeout. To midfield. Don't call a timeout. Let 20 seconds run off the clock. Run another play. You're in field goal range, but you don't have any time left on the clock.
Yeah.
That 3-point try could have been the difference in this game.
Yeah.
He didn't even... Yes, he just tsunami'd gay Undertaker. Can I say that?
Stay on
Okay.
topic, though.
And he just tsunami'd Sheamus. These are the things that I'm... just... I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm surprised that they actually did it.
One more stat.
I'm surprised by Mickey Loomis that he actually did it and then didn't just write out the rest of the year.
Mickey Loomis better be next. 7 games in a row. This is the first time the Saints have lost 7 games in a row since 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Ditka was the head coach. We
Yeah.
went 13-3 that year. That is bad.
Oh, you mean 3-13?
Yeah, when I say 13-3,
13-3. I was
sorry.
like, that's not mathematically
Yes,
possible.
it is mathematically possible in Trumponomics. So I'm just seeing red.
All right, but so like let's move into a more
We're going to talk about this more, but go ahead.
positive mindset. What I'm just saying is that, well, actually, before we do that, like,
We got 3 minutes. Let's continue to shit. We'll do positives next.
well, I mean, I ultimately though it's like I feel this falls on the front office in that I understand what you were saying in the beginning, but Dennis Allen never struck me as someone who should be at the head of a football program, and he just was very
Art Shell-ish.
I mean, he's kind of like
Weekend at Bernie's.
He's too nice of a guy. Like,
Oh, that's another point somebody made. Like,
yeah,
they were bitching about Sean Payton running up the score, and Sean Payton in Denver, and Sean
Right.
Payton was like, "Play the game."
yeah,
Dennis Allen was like, "I'm so sorry.
Right,
I
yeah.
didn't mean to do it." Like,
and you don't. I mean, this is not the guy that I would expect. Even as a defensive coordinator, I don't expect him to get into Cam Jordan's face and going like, "I need you to play at a higher level."
Right,
Right.
no.
Like it's like, and
but guys like Cam Jordan need that.
correct.
They're
Yeah,
professionals for a reason.
yeah. Right. Like, people
He
need
just tsunami'd set through a table.
people need motivation, like whether it's positive or negative depending on your personality type. But I Dennis Allen never struck me as the type of person who could understand the what am I trying to say, weave through the maze of personalities,
The nuances
Yeah.
between a 53-man roster. Yeah, exactly.
Like Sean Payton, sure, Sean Payton knew the
Sean
right
Payton
people,
was an alpha though too.
Yeah. But he knew the people who to coax and the other people who to get in their face and call them like, you're being a fucking dumbass.
Exactly.
Like, shape up or ship out.
And you figure during a 7-game losing streak, like that should be easy motivation.
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
there should be easy motivation
Yeah.
in there. And if you can't get that,
Yeah.
I don't. It's a toxic environment at this point. I mean, and we'll get into it more in a second, but when you've got a former player who's currently a free agent
Right.
live tweeting, shitting on the quarterback,
Yeah.
whether it's his fault or not, like that there's something clearly broken in the organization.
Yeah.
Mickey Loomis went with the first year. It was like, okay, it's the first year after Sean Payton. There's going to be some growing pains, right? We don't really have a quarterback. And then it was like, okay, maybe it's Pete Carmichael. We brought in a quarterback, and maybe it's him. And then it was the first 2 weeks, and it was like, oh my God, the Saints are going to go 17-0 and win the World Series, the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. There's
Well, or in like 20 seconds, I put like this. It's the difference between a Joe Gibbs and a Marty Schottenheimer, right?
yeah.
Joe Gibbs, consummate winner, right?
Yep.
But that dude would know when to chew the fuck out
Absolutely.
of somebody else.
Yep.
Marty Schottenheimer, really nice guy, really good planner.
It took God's quarterback.
The following segment has been brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. The Sports Ball Podcast is a production of Pulpery Media, produced and edited by Ben Grimion, marketing by Brock Ryder, graphic design by Beck Ryder and Ben Grimion, music by the Heisenberg Compensators.